Mandy and me. Mandy. Hello, good morning. How is everybody doing today? Good, that's great. 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 Good. That's great. That's great. That's great. Good, that's great. Poorly, that's great. Poorly, that's great. Good, that's great. Tippity tip top of the morning to you. My name is Paul Zigo. This is my little show that I do called Highdeology. Very strictly enforced show, as you know. Getting banned is part of the fun in Highdeology. Being dumb is part of the fun. I just started watching The Sopranos. Thanks, Paul. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good show. That's a good show there. Been missing streams all week. I think we're on opposite sleep schedules. Maybe we're on opposite sides of the world, Otello. Maybe we have the same sleep schedule, but different time zones. You ever think of that? Ah? Nah, CST. CST. I couldn't be farther from CST if I tried. Wah, 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 wah. It's the thought process you have before you decide to start your streams. Or is it completely based off of random convenience? It's based off of, do I have time to do an hour or two of streaming, and do I feel like doing it? Those are the two considerations. I have found that I enjoy kind of kickstarting my brain with Highdeology, so I'm doing these morning ones. Punch myself in the brain a couple of times, have a Highdeology. It's kind of reminiscent of when I used to do it before the show. Used to get over to TJ's house, get into the studio before anybody was awake, do Highdeologies. Brady is GOAT. Brady was the GOAT before last night's game. He was the greatest of all time before last night's game. Now he's just still the GOAT. Like, once you're the GOAT, you can't really go any higher than the GOAT, you know? Yeah, he was the GOAT 3 Super Bowls ago, yeah. He needs to retire. Writing an essay. Cool essay. 10 rings, you think so, huh? Unreasonably disgusting? Sure, go for it. I'm ready. Let me steal my guts. If I throw up, you can't blame me. Steal those guts. Oh, thank you, baby. It's a roller. Oh. What happened to the the hudrology wrap? The hudrology? Eh? You shit all over yourself? Oh, man. Oh, man. Got to take a poop shower? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, man. Phoebe has apparently not been feeling well, and she shit all over herself today.
Oh.
She pooped her pants. Pants were pooped. It happens. I'm a firm believer that everybody has pooped their pants at least one time in their life. It happens to the best of us. She pooped her pants today. It happens. What are you going to do? I poop my pants after eating crabs with Old Bay automatically. Crabs, yeah, you might have a little shellfish allergy if you poop your pants every time you eat a crab. You might want to stop. You pooped when you got in your first fist fight? Yeah, I can imagine. I've never pooped my pants during a fight, but I can imagine that would be a good time for it to happen. This cricket is just not gonna, he's not gonna be tamed today.
Sad.
He can't be sad. What's he even sad about? He's sad that he can't come out here.
He wants to be with us.
Oh, cricket. He don't pay no bills. He pays the cute bill around here.
The occasional bug gets ate.
Yeah, he kills a bug. You know, if a bug gets into the house, there's a good chance cricket gonna kill it. You know, he tries. He's a lap warmer. I'll be sitting and watching The Sopranos, and then all of a sudden my lap is nice and warm because there's a kitty in it, you know? He pays his bills. Dinor paid his fucking rent for the month today, this morning. Trotting up this street right here. No shit. One of the biggest foxes I've ever seen. I always thought foxes were like, nah. Straight up fox. Walking down the street. Dinor was like, brrr. That fox turned around and ran.
So it wasn't the one I saw the other day that looked like a cat?
It was big.
Yeah.
He was big. He was like this big.
Damn. A whole family of fox.
Yeah. Everybody's posting Sopranos lingo in the chat now. Gabagool. I like in like the first season when Tony calls Tony Jr. Gugoots. Like that's like his nickname. Hey, Gugoots, come here. But then he stops calling him Gugoots. That must be something you only call like a little kid or something.
Yeah. What do they call their fucking side pieces?
Gumar.
Gumar.
Yeah. I was with my fucking Gumar all morning. God damn, holy shit. She got an ass she could bounce a quarter off of, but she won't shut the fuck up. She won't shut the fuck up. Who's your favorite of the, like, putting Tony aside,
Yeah.
of the crazy cast O characters that surround Tony? Who's the one that you like seeing the most?
Honestly, Bobby Bacala is a saint.
Bobby Bacala, you're right. He's pretty fucking awesome. He puts up with a lot of shit. He takes care of Corrado. He's pretty good. I like Silvio. I don't know what it is about Sil.
He's more mysterious.
Yeah, that's why I like him.
Yeah.
He's funny as fuck, but I also like that he gets mad when he plays cards. Like, he's totally usually a pretty cool guy, but when he plays cards, he turns into a complete fucking asshole. I like Silvio a lot. Silvio and Paulie are both pretty fucking fun to watch. The guy that plays Paulie, I can't remember what his name is. He was an actual mobster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like he was actually in the mob, not an actor type of guy. Tony Sirico. Yeah, Paulie was a real deal. Yo, Paul, what games are you playing right now? None really. I reinstalled XCOM 2 recently to try it out again, and I was like, okay, this game fucking sucks. So I'm really not playing anything right now. Kind of got a game of Sunset Overdrive going that I play when I'm just bored, but I don't really got any games right now.
Did you see The Big Bang? It
The
was a documentary that he did about his early life.
Oh, Paulie?
Yeah.
I haven't.
He was in Goodfellas too.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a bit role in Goodfellas. I think he's been in a couple of other gangster properties as well, but of course, most well known. Meadow is my favorite Soprano character. Meadow. Well, she's pretty cool. I like how she slowly but surely kind of develops into Tony's heir apparent. Sort of, over the show. Like, that was dealt with towards the end of the third season that we watched last night, where, you know, he's talking about how he doesn't want his son to end up in his life or whatever, and he's like, you know, he'd never make it. He talks about how Meadow would be the one. Like, Meadow's got the mind for it. Meadows understands it. His son is just not, he doesn't have the nature that it takes to do what he does. And that's got to be a tough thing, too, for Tony living in that kind of culture where, you know, your son is supposed to... But that's a big part of season 3, is sons not living up to their father's legacy. Season 3 is all basically about Jackie Aprile Jr. fucking up and Anthony Jr. fucking up. And Chris, right, not living up to their father's example. The father and son dynamic is explored incredibly heavily in season 3. You got Tony and Gugutz. You've got Jackie Aprile and everybody that's trying to look out for him in different ways. Ralphie in one way, Tony in another. You've got fucking Bacala and his dad. All the flashbacks of Tony remembering his dad. It's a father-son season. My favorite exchange from the Cleo Watts deposition was when the plaintiff's lawyer asks, "You have business meetings at a Whataburger?" And Cleo responds, "Sure, why not?" Yeah, I know. He's great. That's a great deposition. You have business meetings at a Whataburger? Sure, why not? It's cheap. Like, she could become the brains of the operation with her knowledge of the criminal justice system and business degree she has or whatever she is in college for. Sure. I mean, Tony's already been introduced to a woman that's high up in the structure when he goes to Italy in the first season, and it really touches off him trying to seek that out back in the States. And that comes to a head in season 3 as well, when he finds a woman that's like that woman that he meets in the first season that's all into organized crime. And he fell for her because he can't have that relationship with Carmela. He can't have that relationship with his wife where he comes home and tells her what's going on. But he finds this, other woman that she knows what's going on, and that's hot to him. That he can share that. How does my mustache taste? It tastes like a band.
Second time, the third, fourth time you asked, so.
See you later. Better go hop on that other account. Try again. Got all the time in the world. Carmela was way further into denial than Tony. Well, Carmela deals with her denial in season 3 as well. I think it's probably one of the reasons why a lot of people say that season 3 is the best season of the show. It's got what I consider to be one of the best episodes of the show, the Pine Barrens episode, which is just so different and cool. And it's also got some of the coolest and easiest to understand themes running through it. But yeah, Carmela makes her decision in season 3. She's finally forced to drop the veneer of fakeness and admit to somebody face to face that she's horrible for her children because she allows them to be around a man who kills people for a living, that her entire body is draped in blood money, and that someday it's going to end horribly and tragically for her and her family if she doesn't do something about it. And she makes her decision. She comes very close to deciding to leave Tony, but she files through her own personal moral code and decides, I'd rather have I'd rather have the life. Since Goodfellas exists in that universe, is it different actors since Karen, Spider, etc. are all on the show? I don't know that necessarily the Goodfellas and The Sopranos are meant to be in the same universe. I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that they occupy the same cinematic universe. But yes, the guy that plays Chris Moltisanti plays Spider in that, and it's a very different role. Spider is it's a very subservient character. Why don't you go fuck yourself, Tommy? That's the one that he gets off. That's the sentence that kills him.
Yeah, they talk about it in The Sopranos, and that means that it's a movie in their universe.
Right, they do talk about Goodfellas. So in their universe, Goodfellas is a movie.
I'm pretty sure they've mentioned The Godfather too.
They've referenced it several times. I know it was you. You broke my heart. There's that joke that gets made. So obviously there's tons and tons of references to all these popular gangster films in The Sopranos. So I don't see how they could all exist in the same universe. Hate how they did Spider. Well, that's like, part of Tommy's character development. That bandage on your foot is as big as your fucking head. Why don't you go fuck yourself, Tommy? Yeah. You're digging the hole. Fine, you want me to fucking dig the hole like I never dug a hole before? The fuck? Character development, he's a total douche throughout the whole movie. Yes. But you get to see him go from being a kid to being a made man for 1 second before he gets his head blown off. He develops from a street kid to an underboss. Yeah, the character that Tommy's based on in Goodfellas was worse than he was portrayed in the film, according to the memoirs of Henry Hill. He was just supposed to be an incredibly violent, mood swing prone guy that would shoot you in the face for the slightest perceived slight against his fucking ego. Just a completely and utterly unrepentant killer and criminal that it was hard to stay on the right side of. Funny? I'm funny how? What do you mean I'm funny? What do you mean by that? Oh, I just mean the way, you tell the story. You're a funny guy. Funny. How am I fucking funny? Funny like a clown? Like a clown is funny? Like I'm here to amuse you? I amuse you like a fucking clown? Is that what you're saying? Tommy, no, just the way that you tell the story. I mean, you know what I'm saying? No, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're saying. You're the one that fucking said it. You tell me what the fuck is what's funny? What's so fucking funny about me? I love that. I love that scene. Get the fuck out of here. Did you see him, Frankie? I worry about you, Hendry. You may fold under questioning. It's a good, like, I don't know what you'd call that, like, the word escapes me. It's presaging what happens at the end. You really are a funny guy. That's it. Foreshadowing. Thank you. The brain of a stoner. You ever go through the Rolodex in your head of all these fucking English words that you know, and sometimes the word that you need, it's just not there. You're just, it's flipping in there, and you're going like, I've used this word fucking several thousand times in my life. Joe Pesci in Casino and Goodfellas were like the same character. I disagree. I think that they are similar characters in that they're both violent, like thugs, but I don't think that he played it the same at all. I think Joe Pesci is great, and there's a whole lot of difference between Tommy and Goodfellas and fucking what's his name in Casino? Is it Tommy in Casino as well? Maybe there isn't. No, I can't remember what he's named in Casino. Nicky. Yeah, that's right. Nicky Santoro. I love when he you know that scene in Casino where he shows up to have the meeting with the banker guy, and the banker guy's like, "Look, you know the markets are volatile. We always told you there were risks involved." He's trying to tell him why he doesn't have his money, and he's like, "Let me tell you what I'm gonna do. On Monday morning, I'm gonna walk into your bank, and if you don't have my money, I'm gonna beat you so fucking bad you're gonna go into a coma, and then." Hopefully, around the time you're coming out of your coma, I'll be getting out of jail. And then I'll come to your hospital room and I'll beat the fuck out of you again because I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about jail. That's what I do. I love that shit. That guy's just sitting there all sweaty like, I feel like to enjoy crime movies, you have to think it's cool at least a little bit. I mean, it's fantasy, right? It's fantasism. Nobody that watches those movies, except for a very few people, are actually anything like the characters in those movies. It's fantasism. It's like you get to take a look at people that live a completely different life. That's one of the themes of Goodfellas. Is at the beginning of Goodfellas, you get to see Henry Hill living this horribly poor existence with this, angry Irish drunk father, disabled brother, barely having enough money to scrape by on, and then slowly but surely he carves out another existence for himself by doing things that none of us would ever consider doing. You know, being criminal, like going out and hurting people for a living, going out and killing people for a living, going out and robbing and stealing and being part of a crime family and all of that shit. You know, it's there's a glamour to that kind of gangster lifestyle where you take what you want, you know, and it's fantasism for people like us to watch that shit because 98% of the fucking world is just not like that. I love that about movies in general, but we're talking about crime dramas and gangster films today, I guess. It's the same with Westerns. Absolutely. I mean, it's the same with any kind of fucking action flick, you know? Action, fantasy, it's all fantasism. It's all, we get to take a look at something that's very different from our lives, very different from the world that we live in. We get to see characters doing things we would never dream of doing, acting in ways that we'd never dream of acting. Yeah, that's in the second Iceman tapes on HBO. The Iceman Confessions, I think that one's called. The first one is called the Iceman Tapes, and that's where Richard Kuklinski sits down with just an interviewer from HBO and tells a bunch of stories about people that he killed and how he worked for the mob. And then in the second one, for at least part of it, they have him interviewed by a psychiatrist. And it's really interesting. That moment that you described there, Marshall, is really fucking interesting. Because he asks the guy, I can't remember how he puts it, but he asks the guy a very pointed question about, what it boils down to is basically, why am I the way I am? And the guy says, the psychiatrist explains to him very, very succinctly what kind of mental problems he has and how they made him so successful in his work. And Richard Kuklinski seems genuinely thankful for it. He's like, oh, he seems genuinely like enlightened about himself. It's a very interesting interview. I've seen Manhunter, yeah. Is it available anywhere other than HBO Max? It probably is, but I wouldn't know where. I mean, everything is available everywhere. You know what I mean? If you're willing to steal it, so. But as far as I know, that's where they're at. It's an HBO documentary. It's on YouTube. There you go. Sometimes our greatest successes come from the most broken parts of ourselves. That is true. That is true. Well, I mean, the parts that we consider to be broken. I used to steal shit, but HBO Max is dope enough to pay for. HBO Max is pretty good. I dropped I usually don't keep a ton of channels. I have Amazon Prime, so I get their Prime movies or whatever, and then you can sign up for other channels through that, and I kind of rotate them. I had Showtime for a while, and then I finally decided to try out the HBO Max shit, and it's actually really good. They got a lot of good movies on there. A lot of their old documentary series, not all of them, which is weird to me. There's an old series called America Undercover, and they had some great documentaries back in the 90s. One of them called Bangin' in Little Rock, which followed gangbangers in the town of Little Rock, Arkansas, that they don't have on HBO Max for some reason. And one of them called, well, there's three actually. One's called Black Tar Heroin, and it follows a bunch of young people who were addicted to heroin in San Francisco in the 90s when that was like epidemic level. And that has like one of the best fucking soundtracks for a documentary ever, by the way. It's all queercore and down tempo from Bay Area artists in the 90s. You hear the Mr. T Experience, which is a band nobody knows. You hear Cat Power all over it. Just great. That's not on there for some reason. And then there's one called Lost Lives in Lubbock? No. What is that one called? Fuck me. High on Crack Street. Lost Lives in Lubbock, I think is what it's called. That was another one of these. And it follows a group of people who are addicted to crack in a small, bombed out industrial town. They do have available on HBO Max one of my favorite documentaries of all time called Dope Sick Love, which once again is like this really intimate look at the lives of heroin and crack addicts in New York City. They get this incredibly candid footage of these people. It almost like watching that show. It almost borders on unethical in my mind, because some of the things that happen in that show are just so fucking scary, and the people could die. But it's just like the cameraman is just this observer. You have to watch that fucking documentary if you're a fan at all of documentary films. Dope Sick Love is one of the most harrowing and cool and interesting documentaries you'll ever watch. I love those slice of actual genuine life type of documentaries where you get to see these very intimate, very private moments of people that are completely and utterly living in a different way than you are. And that is one of those where you just feel like a fly on the wall type of documentaries. There's no narrative to it. There's no narrative voice. There's no narrator saying, this is so and so, this is so and so. They're crack addicts. No. You're just shown these people. You're introduced. They're introduced by existing. It's interesting. But all of those early America Undercover is what the series was called on HBO back in the day. Those early America Undercover shows were all really good, and it's a shame that they're not all on HBO Max. But maybe I don't know, maybe there's licensing issues with some of them or some shit. I don't know. Any nature documentaries you like that are on the same level? I mean, I'm a sucker for David Attenborough's nature documentaries, and those are many and numerous. So any of those are always a good time to watch when it comes to nature documentaries and shit. I love there's one. It's kind of old now, so it might not be as impressive as some of the other ones. But there was a documentary series that Attenborough did called Blue Planet that was all about the oceans. So it covered all of the different kind of biomes that exist in the ocean, from shallow seas to the deep ocean to the open ocean to the coastal ocean, and all of the animals and life that live in those particular areas, the Arctics. Really great documentary series, and particularly the one about the super deep ocean. I really like Blue Planet's super deep ocean episode. So yeah. Jacques Cousteau did a lot of good stuff too if you want to watch some older stuff. His older documentaries I used to watch them when I was a little kid. He was kind of like David Attenborough before we got David Attenborough as a documentarian in America. So Jacques Cousteau did a lot of fun stuff and a lot of really pretty stuff. But it's hard to compete with these fucking like 90K ultra slow-mo fucking crazy telephoto cameras that they're using on these new Planet Earth documentaries. It's just fucking stunning how close they're able to get to these animals. And it's just hard for the older stuff to compete, you know. Camera gear used to be bulky, and lenses have basically been invented since then, reinvented. Is that what they're using, that red camera? You're probably right. I mean, these cameras that they're using for these nature documentaries and in general today are just so fucking insane. I just ordered a TV because mine broke, and this will be the first time that I've owned a 4K TV. By the way, TVs are so fucking cheap now. It's ridiculous. I was blown away. Like when I saw that my TV broke, I was like, fuck. Because I remember when I bought that TV, and it was like, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. It's a 42 inch, and it was like $500 or $600. And I was just like, oh my God, man. Dude, I got a 50-inch TV for like $300. 50-inch 4K smart TV thing with all the apps on it for whatever. $300 on sale. I was like, okay. Fair enough. But I'm telling you, dude, like, this technology it's hard for me to, I know I boomer you guys a lot, but it's hard for me as a dude that grew up at a time when all of this technology was very nascent. It's hard for me to even, like, explain to you guys how fast it has happened and how insane. Like, if I could teleport a flat screen 4K TV that I just bought on Amazon for $300 back to the 80s, people would shit their pants. They would shit their pants. You have no idea the fidelity difference between old rabbit ear antenna broadcast TV, which is what I grew up with, and what you guys grew up with and have now. Dude, my parents are lost with a capital L. One generation behind me, most of the people that are from that generation, they're like swimming in an ocean of shit they don't even fucking begin to understand. My parents, I mean, to their credit, they've adopted some shit that I never thought they'd adopt. My mom has an Alexa at her house, and I hear her giving it commands and shit. And I'm like, whoa. The size of, like for example, the TV that I got, 50 inches, if you wanted a TV that was that big back in the day, you had to get a projector, which were insanely expensive, rich people only type of gear. Like there was no option for you to get a 50-inch theater widescreen display. It didn't happen back then. You could get like a big 45-inch CRT TV, and I actually had one of those towards the end of the life of CRT TVs. But yeah, like your options were limited, and the fidelity on those things, I mean, it's just totally different. Completely and utterly different. Movies back in the day, reel-to-reel projectors, which you probably have never been to a movie shown on a reel-to-reel. I have. That's how movies were shown back when I was a kid. And the fidelity difference between what's up on the screen now, especially like in an IMAX, and what I used to sit through as a kid is just like if I could take little Paul, like 8-year-old Paul, and take him to an IMAX movie, he would be like, I don't have any VHS movies or anything. Yeah, you're right. At the end, there were some giant fucking CRTs. You're right. Towards the end of their life cycle, because they were trying to compete with these bigger panel TVs that were taking over everything, they made some giant fucking CRTs. Projectors are really cheap now. Yeah, what do the bulbs cost though? Like what does it cost to replace a bulb in your projector, Solon? If you don't mind me asking. I'm just wondering, because back when I used to work with these DLP projectors and shit, like those bulbs were fucking like $500-600. Most of them are using LEDs now. Oh, okay. $9 with shipping. Yeah, that's okay. Never mind. The world has changed. I feel it in the water. I feel it in the earth. Yeah, my projector knowledge is based in like 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. I'm not on the level anymore. Those projectors back there were ridiculously expensive. The bulbs on them were ridiculously expensive. Yeah, they were 50, $75 for bulbs on the low end models. The models that the teachers had in their classrooms, the bulbs were upwards of $150 to replace. And so every time a bulb started to dim or go out on a teacher, I would go to the fucking principal and be like, hey, we need to buy a bulb. And sometimes the principals would be like, we just don't have it in the budget. It's going to have to make do. And it's just like, they can't see anything from their projectors. Not, it's going to have to make do. Okie doke. Does Tarantino only have one movie left before he retires? I don't know. I guess we'll see, right? I think it's possible he's got a number of movies left. I mean, fucking Hitchcock worked until he died. He ain't that fucking old. Kill Bill 3. How do you make Kill Bill 3 when Bill is dead? You have Vernita Green's daughter come back for revenge on the bride. That's the best fan theory that I've heard. Is that Vernita Green's daughter is now obviously probably in her 20s. She comes back. Yep, that would be pretty fucking dope. Now the bride is the bad guy. I like it. I don't know if he would make it though, because he's so in fucking love with Uma Thurman. Like, would he let her lose in a movie? I mean, it's very set up for that, isn't it? If when you grow up, you feel raw about it, I'll be waiting. He's so in love with them bare feet. I know. Uma Thurman or Sigourney Weaver. Why do I gotta pick one? I mean, for me, Sigourney. Like, I don't know what you're asking. Actresses? Or are you going the sexualization route and asking which one is more bangable? Both? Sigourney, for me. Who's more badass? Sigourney. Sigourney. I love Sigourney Weaver, but that's because Ghostbusters and Aliens. Well, yeah, what other reason do you need? Man, Paul, it'd be a crazy world when AI can create movies and games on demand for us, yes. She threw Tarantino under the bus? With what? It's the single biggest waste of money the school district engaged in your opinion? Technology. 100%. It was one of those. One of the major reasons why I was so desperately unhappy at my job was because I felt like that I spent all day wasting money. I am not saying that technology is inherently wasteful in the classroom. I am saying that the way it was purchased and implemented in my school district was incredibly wasteful and incredibly silly. Millions and millions and millions of local taxpayer dollars went to furnish machines that were not uniform, that were staggered throughout various areas of development. Certain schools had money to upgrade their machines, certain schools didn't. And it was unevenly applied and applied in one of the most expensive ways possible. I worked at an all Apple district. I want you guys to think about that. I served a district that had think 26 schools in it at the time. All Apple. We're talking iMacs in the classroom, right? And you know what those run a piece. Apple computers kind of sucked back then. See, that's the thing. They have these huge educational accounts. So if you're a school district, what happens is that an Apple representative comes and gives you a dog and pony show almost every year, if you're big enough and have the money, and keeps you as an Apple customer. They give you discounts on large purchases, even though those discounts are on already incredibly pricey machines. And so I started to look at what are these kids using these computers for? And the answer in most of the classrooms was to play stupid little, like, educational games. Like crossword puzzles. They had certain websites they were allowed to go to, and that is 90%. So basically, the district spent millions of dollars so that kids could fuck off on stupid little internet places instead of being taught. And if we'd have taken that millions of dollars and expanded the amount of classrooms and teachers at each of these schools, those kids would have been getting a better education off top. Because at the time we were making all these multi-million-dollar technology purchases at these school sites and outfitting them with brand new iMac computers, the classrooms that we were putting them in were 35 to 1 or higher in terms of student to teacher. How does that make sense? So each classroom would get 8 computers or something, between 6 and 8 computers. But each classroom had 36 kids in it. Logistical nightmare because we were working on a Cat 2 and below, Cat 1 in some cases, backbone at some of the rural schools that we were working at. So a lot of my job was finding those old sections of fucking Cat cable and having them replaced. The infrastructure was not there. They would buy all these machines, but the networks at these schools were so bad because they were rural that they wouldn't work properly. And then they would blame the technology people, even though it wasn't the technology people that told them to purchase the machines. They decided to purchase those machines. That was another thing that was a problem at the school district. I worked for the information technology department. And we were not consulted when it came to what was purchased. I want to run that by you again. When a school decided that it was going to get a bunch of computers, they didn't call the IT department and tell them what they were going to get. They would buy all the computers and then tell the IT department. I'm sure you can imagine the inherent problem with that. Your network can't handle that many fucking computers. We'll fix it. I can't. I can't fix that. That would require like rewiring your entire school. I'm one dude. I'm not a fucking electrician. You need to pay somebody to come out and do that. Well, how much would that cost? A fucking lot. You're talking about taking a network that can barely handle your teacher laptops being connected to it and expanding the number of devices that are connecting to these wireless access points that are fucking 6 years old by tenfold. Well, I just don't understand. It works at other schools. Yeah, it works at other schools because they've upgraded their fucking network. They've spent the money. You just bought a bunch of computers that aren't going to work, no matter what I do, unless you buy a bunch of other shit. We don't have any money. Maybe you should have called us before you decided to buy 8 computers for every classroom. By the way, everything that I was saying that the IT guy was saying was things that we would only be able to think. Because if I were to say that to a principal, I would be fired. I would be fired the next day. So I had to somehow explain to them that they made a stupid mistake without telling them that they made a stupid mistake. And also without making it look like it's me that's incompetent. Because I can't make it work. Try walking that tightrope every day of your life for 8 years. No, thank you. What would I say? I would try and explain to them in technical terms that they didn't understand. That was that was the best. That was the best way for me to put it. And I would try and make it seem like I was dumbing it down. So I'd be like, you know those boxes that are in every other classroom or so? Yeah. You're talking about the black boxes that have all the connections in them. Yes, those are called MDFs. In order to run the amount of computers that you would like me to set up here, we would have to double the number of MDFs. There's not enough network to be distributed to these machines. And so the school is not prepared for that. And so here are the options for that. This happened, I would relate to them another school. This happened at Monroe. The last time I was at Monroe, I was talking to the guy that was there, and he told me, that he had a company come in and put in 17 MDFs, and it cost about 30 grand, and that's what it took to get the network up. Well, I don't have that money. Well, I'm just letting you know, like, I will set all these machines up, but I'm letting you know here ahead of time, they are not going to work on this network. And I had nothing to do with and I'm not saying this to them. I had nothing to do with the purchasing of these, so they couldn't be like, well, why did you buy them then? I didn't. You did. So it's all implicit. You have to tell them that they were wrong without being like, this was stupid. You should have called us first, and we could have told you not to do this. We could have told you, make this year's investment in the infrastructure and next year's investment in the machines. But here's what it was about. And this is what the whole technology shit came down to. And when I realized this, it made me sick to my stomach because I'd probably been working there for about a year before I realized what was really going on. A row of iMacs in a classroom. What does that look like when a parent walks in? A beautiful row of flat screen iMacs, all uniform and lined up at the back of the classroom. You're a parent. What does that look like? Posh, right? That's what it was about. It wasn't about whether or not the computers were benefiting the kids. It was about that wow factor. When the parents walked in and saw those beautifully uniform iMacs with their simultaneous iMac screensavers, all ready to be used for next generation learning, to a bunch of baby boomers who don't understand technology at all. They've got all these TV fucking movie ideas of next generation learning happening in there. And really what's happening is those 6 machines don't work because the internet infrastructure at the school doesn't work. So they only work for like localized programs, and even then they're spotty. Yep. Give them the old razzle dazzle, razzle dazzle 'em. That's what it was about. It took me a year of working there before I realized, like, holy fuck, a lot of these people don't even care if this shit works. It's just about appearances. The same thing was true of, you guys have probably, a lot of you, because I know they've become more ubiquitous since I was working in the educational industry. Smart boards. You guys heard of these things? Smart boards, does that mean a thing to you guys? You guys know what I'm talking about? They usually come in concert with a projector. They got a special pen that you use, and you can walk up and you can draw on them and you can circle things. They've kind of like replaced the blackboard in a lot of schools. Thanks for the $10, shitty economist. Biggest fucking boondoggle that I've ever fucking had the displeasure of helping to roll out at a school. The amount of teachers that didn't use that technology was staggering. The amount of money that was spent to outfit every classroom in the little town of Madera that I grew up in, and all 26 of its schools, was staggering. We're talking an insane amount of money. Dude, teachers would just leave the projectors on, and these were those projectors that kind of started this whole conversation. Where like the bulbs had a certain amount of life, and so you really only wanted to turn them on when you needed them. There were a lot of teachers, in their defense, that did do that, but there were a lot of teachers that didn't, and they have these filters, yeah, and they're real easy to clean. You just stand up on a chair, open this little thing, pull out this little filter, and you take it outside and dust it out and replace it. And that had to be done once every 3 or 4 days because it would pull all the crap out of the air because it needed to be constantly cooled because the bulbs that you used were so hot, and they had a certain life to them. And if you left your projector on all day and all night, they would run out. I had a principal one time, and actually, like, I paint principals a lot in these stories as bad people. There were a lot of really good principals. I won't say his name. I'll say his first name. Well, no, I won't, because people are creepy. Let's just say his name was Joe. That's a good name. And he was a hard ass, but you know what? He was a good ass principal. He would come to me. Not even necessarily to my boss, which is who he should have gone to. But he would come to me, and then I would push it up the pipe to my boss when he wanted to make technology purchases. And in response to that, his school worked better than any of my other schools because he didn't buy what he couldn't handle. He prepped. And that dude, one time, I came to him with a list of bulbs that needed to be replaced. And he was like, you got to be, he was like a Mormon guy. And so he and I would meet in his office a lot, and for him to cuss was crazy. He was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. He wasn't mad at me, and I was like, he was like, I need you to do me a favor. Can you do something for me? And I was like, if I can help. He goes, can you stay after one of these days? And I know it's going to take a while, but I'll tell the janitors not to arm the security stuff and to stay with you. And I want you and the custodial crew to go room to room and write down which rooms have these bulbs on after hours. And I was like, done. Happy to do it. He didn't put up with that shit. So I did that shit, dude. I snitched. Me and them janitors went after hours and found there were like 15 rooms that had just left their projectors on overnight. Just like, see, like he was like a problem solver. I really looked up to him as a principal. Not looked up to him because I never wanted to be a principal, but like in the group of principals that I worked for, he was really self-assured. And but he backed it with like this knowledge that was not only a knowledge, but you could tell he genuinely cared about the children that he served. Like, I'll tell you guys a story where I got in big trouble with this fucking guy and how he treated me because of it. And I think he treated me very fairly. I was buried in work. I was buried, okay? Always. And he had gone through the labors of upgrading the network at his school so that he could handle having 2 giant labs, which was a way better way of doing things, having these computer labs, because an entire class could sit and be on the computer at once. And there was a lot of computer-based prep, like test prep stuff for Common Core. And so he had these 2 big, beautiful labs that he had ordered all these computers for. But he didn't get them until after the school year had started, and it was right at the most busy fucking time for me at the beginning of the school year, because everything that can go wrong will, no matter how carefully you've prepared. Once your school is full of teachers and kids on your network, everything's going to start burning. So I'm running around putting out fires. I show up, and he tells me, he says, yeah, I got all those lab computers delivered. And he said, I realize how busy you are, but I'd really like you to get started on those as soon as you can. And I said, I will do that. I said, thank you for giving me that little grace period. You understand. I'm one guy. I got 3 sides. He was a really empathetic dude. He understood the position I was in a way that other principals that I worked for didn't. He saw how hard I worked and acknowledged it. He knew I was fucking running my ass off. I had 3 schools that I was solely in charge for. I was the only IT person at 1, 2, 3 elementary schools, just like his. And so he knew I was fighting a losing battle. But he also had this money that he invested, and he wanted that shit up and running. And so he let me know that. He was like, I appreciate it. As soon as you get things leveled out to where you can start working on it, please start working on it. And I said, I will. And in my defense, at the beginning, I did. I started to set things up, and it takes a while to build a fucking computer lab. I had to distribute fucking switches, not switches, hubs, not hubs, switches. Sorry, hubs are bad, switches good. I had to distribute switches to split the internet connection. I had to wire the fucking thing up to where kids wouldn't be tripping on all the wires and shit. I had to build computer labs in these rooms that were never built for it. So it took me a while, and maybe it took me a little longer than it should have, to be honest with you, because I devoted more time to other things and trying to get things working in other ways, and I really should have put some other things on the back burner. And one day I walked into the computer lab, and these machines that I hadn't unboxed yet were gone. Just like gone. There was this huge stack of them up against the wall, and they're gone. And I was like, so I immediately call the fucking janitor, the custodial dude. I've got his number. I'm like, where are you at? So I'm over here. I said, I'm coming to you. And I ran to him and I was like, please, please, please fucking tell me that you moved those computers out of the lab. He was like, dude, I wouldn't fucking touch that shit. And I said, have you been in there today? He goes, no. I said, they're gone. He goes, oh, fuck. So Joe, Principal Joe, was out of town on this day at a conference for principals, busy as fuck. And I'm like, I got to call him. I got to tell him. You did not want to be me that day. Can I just say it that way? That was a bad day for Paul's ego. That was a bad day to be me because he gave it to me on the phone and I deserved it. He was like, that stuff should have been set up, plugged in, and done a month ago. And they were able to just walk out with boxes. It's like, I'm sorry. He gave it to me. He's like, did you lock your office? I was like, I lock my office every day. Did you lock the room behind you when you left for the day? I locked. Oh yeah, there was a whole police report. I had to give my whole testimony and shit because I was the one that discovered it. Not testimony, but you get it. Like, they interviewed me. I told him, like, when was the last time you saw the machines? Like 2 days ago, the last time I was here on site. When did you discover they were gone? Today. When I got on site at 7:30 in the morning, I came right here and they were gone. How much did I sell them for? About $800 a piece. I'm kidding. That's ridiculous, dude. So somebody who had access to that shit just walked away with like thousands of dollars of computers. Brand new iMac computers. It's like, was anyone caught? Eventually, yes. None of the stuff was recovered. It was found that it was a temp dude. So here's what ended up happening as far as I was made aware. And I was totally not involved or made aware of the back end of this shit. They took my testimony and shit, and I heard this through the grapevine. So what it was they had a dude that was working custodial, not custodial, but like groundskeeping, who was a temp. And he asked a dude for a key so he could go to the bathroom and unlocked that door and then left and went to the bathroom and came back and did his job. And then later on, he and his friends came by with a truck, and because that door was unlocked, it was off the alarm. And this was before the school shootings started to happen where they like rimmed schools and fences. So you could just walk on campus at night. And that's what they did. They pulled a truck up at night. There was no video surveillance of the fucking yard and shit. Loaded up a big truck and left. And so somebody was caught. They tried to sell a couple of them and they were able to trace them, and that ended up turning up, but they were never recovered. And, there's insurance involved with the school. Yeah, the school got the money back. So that, at least that's good. They were able to repurchase the machines and shit. And I'll tell you what, as soon as those fucking machines arrived, everything else went on the back burner. And those motherfuckers were distributed to the classrooms, put in the labs where they were supposed to be. Did you get any vindication? I mean, I wasn't ever implicated in any wrongdoing. The problem is that those computers were sitting in a centralized location, and had I distributed them to the places that they should have been, they wouldn't have been stolen. That's just the truth. Had I made the time to distribute these things and take these things to the place they should have been, they would not have been stolen. That's just the way it is. So that was my involvement. That I was implicated in just not doing what I should have been doing. And I knew it. And this guy was tough but fair with me about it. And I showed him that I'd learned my lesson by as soon as those replacement computers came, when that insurance money came in, they were done. I called another dude. I was like, hey, I'll help you out. I'll owe you one or whatever. Come over and help me get these computers hooked up. I've got everything ready to go. I just need, two hands are better than one. Had another dude from another site come help me. And within a day or two, they were done. Hooked up the way he wanted them. And he pulled me aside and thanked me for that. He's like, thank you for being good on your word or whatever. I can't remember how he put it. But that was a good moment because he wasn't a shit to me after that. I'd fucked up, but he understood and was willing to work with me on it because I showed that I'd learned my lesson, that it's dangerous to keep this type of technology laying around in this neighborhood and you got to get it done, And so I did it, and he saw I was a man of my word, and he and I were good from then on out. He was an awesome dude. One of the principals that I looked up to. There was another guy that I worked for. Well, I mean, I say worked for. Technically, I was under the direction of these principals when it came to the distribution of technology and stuff, right? There's another principal, totally different personality, but he had a different way of doing things. He was a soft guy. Like, I don't mean that in a mean way. He just was not a dude I could ever imagine yelling. He was awesome, by the way. He, I don't know. There was like this environment of there being a family on his campus. His teachers all wanted to stay at that campus. Like, teachers used to move around like crazy, ping pong, ping pong, ping pong, between all these schools looking for the right environment. But there were hardly any openings on his campus because he had this environment of we're all in this together, and he worked just as hard as any of them teachers. He was there early, left late. If a teacher would come to him and say they were having a problem, he was there. He was not the type of guy to like delegate. Like, he would go work, like, he didn't know about a ton about technology, but he wanted to see what the problem was, and then he would bring me the issue. He'd be like, hey, I went to Mrs. Gomez's room. She was telling me she has this problem. The screens flicker or something, or whatever it was, or one of the machines keeps turning off. And she showed me it, and it does that. And, I'd be like, okay, all right. And I would go look at it, and I'd find out what was wrong. She'd have a fucking power cable with a short, or be a short at the wall or something. I'd get it fixed for her. And he was very intimately involved in every little aspect. And when he came to, like, the kids loved him because he was so soft-spoken and so cool. So all the kids loved him. It was a very family-like environment on that campus, which was very different from some of my other campuses and some of the other, and that all comes from the top down. That's a leadership thing. And the principal is the king or queen at the school level, What they say goes. And so the difference in environment is all about whether you have a principal that's engaged in doing the right thing, and being involved in his teachers and involved in his students' lives in a positive way, in a helpful way, in a supportive way, but being fair and hard when you need to be. You ain't gonna stifle your sneezes, baby. Let them babies ring, dude. Last night I let a wahoo out here.
That was letting them out.
No, it wasn't. You stifled them sneezes.
No, I didn't. They just came out.
It sounded like a little rabbit sneezed.
They just came out like that.
All right. So many companies try to inflict a fake family team mindset on employees. I didn't know it was real. No, it's actually possible. It just comes from the top down in that structure, at the school level. I'm not trying to act like I'm some kind of fucking expert on the shit, but man, I watched it. For almost a decade of my life, I watched it. And I worked at a ton of different schools. I moved around. Some of them remained pretty much mine my whole career. and some of them just got shuffled, you know? And so I got to see these different environments and how they worked. I was sent to schools, like when I worked for the school district, and I'm not claiming to be like, I was not the best at my job technically, but I was the best at like, maybe one of the best at interfacing directly with the principals. And so when we had like a demanding principal one way or the other, a principal that wanted that extra level of like, hey, I want to talk to my tech guy, I got sent to those schools because I was good at that. I was good at looking people in the eye and responding to their emotional needs and responding to their fucking, you know what I mean? I was good. I was good at being micromanaged like that because I understood that type of a leader. No, I wasn't the IT ringer because there were people that were sent to problem schools. Like our best technical people were sent to the schools that needed it the most. You know what I mean? I was not our best technician, if I'm honest about it. I just wasn't. You know, I had no formal training in it, and there were dudes working for us that had gone to school for this shit and knew network engineering and all that. They were able to fix shit that I had to call and get advice about, you know? Those are your best technicians. And so we had a very efficient distribution of labor. How did I get the job? You guys want the honest answer? Nepotism. I'm not gonna lie. My brother-in-law worked for the department. He told me there was an opening. They were looking to expand things, and I was working at Starbucks at the time and hating it. And he was like, hey, you know what I mean? There might be an opening coming up here. I could get you a sit down with the boss. No, I can get you an interview and stuff, and you just got to come in here and demonstrate a little basic computer knowledge, and they'll hire you probably. I'll give you the thumbs up if you want it. And I ruminated on it for a couple of days, and I was like, oh, man. And I remember, you know, he kind of liked his job. He had told me, you know, once he had his ducks in a row, it was kind of a kickback job, and it was in some ways. No, he didn't say boss like that. That's just me watching The Sopranos leaking into me. No, he told me, you know, I'll get you an interview, and he did. I met the guy, and I'm a pretty charming dude. You know, I know how to put it on because I've given a lot of interviews and taken a lot of interviews. That was part of my job at Starbucks, and so, you know, I put on the charm and stuff, and we got along, and we joked back and forth, and then he sent me to do a basic test, and it was all Macintosh stuff, and look, any formal training I had was in, you know, the kind of non-Mac infrastructure, IBM and fucking infrastructure. I was not, you know, I was a Windows guy. The only formal training I'd ever had in the upkeep and maintenance and shit of computers was me and my dad building Windows machines, and then me briefly working for MCI WorldCom, HP technical support, you know, phone bank guy. You know, I got a month worth of intensive training. So I knew nothing about Macs, but it was simple shit. I was able to puzzle my way through it. I passed it with flying colors, and I was hired. Was it an easy transition? No, it was one of the hardest transitions in my life. It was crazy. It was crazy. Going from Starbucks, talk about going from being like near the top of the food chain when it came to like where you worked to being at the bottom of the barrel. They gave me this dude. So when I was hired, of course they're not going to just like bring a new guy on and give him 3 schools and go like, get out there and get it. You got ash in your stash? Oh, I do. Thank you. Thank you for noticing. You okay, honey?
Yeah, I'm just getting a tension headache.
Oh, that sucks. A hot bath will help. Heat from a heating pad will help too. And then a little later, I'll try and rub it. I just don't want to bruise you. It was only just a few days ago I gave you a deep tissue back there.
Maybe it is allergies. Sure.
I mean, that is what happens. If you're having like constant post-nasal drip and constant pressure headaches in the back and shit, that's all part of fucking allergy response. It sucks. you've never lived in this climate before, so there's a good chance that you're just allergic to something that's up in the air here. But the good news about that is there's a number of things that we can try. Like you can try Claritin. It's over the counter now, and that actually does help me a little bit. I don't know if it interacts with any thing you're taking, but if you check on it and it doesn't, it will dry you out a little bit. It's not something you want to take every fucking day, but on days like you're having now where you're not feeling great, they've got the like Flonase stuff too.
I love you.
But anyway, what was I talking to you guys about? Cold can be an irritant. Yeah, that is true. I mean, it's been real brisk and we've been spending a lot of time outside, but you're used to cold.
Yeah, I think it might even be something in the house, honestly, because it's at night when I'm laying down.
I mean, it might be dander.
Yeah.
You might be allergic to fucking. I mean, it might be worth trying to get that allergy test done on you. Yeah, you've lived in cold before. But this area here, I will tell you, has a lot of fucking allergens in the air. A ton that you're not exposed to in other places. No, including and not limited to pollution and smoke. So, just is what it is. Well, I was talking about the job transition, not the transition from working with PCs to working with Macs. That was easy. Macs are real simple to fucking network and real simple to fucking work with once you understand the basics of them. The hard part was learning the job because they gave me the biggest hard. Like it was like I didn't know it at the time, really, but I was placed with the biggest hard ass on the IT team. He was what was called a TSA, teacher on special assignment. He was a classroom teacher that had made the voluntary decision to make an adjacent move to a teacher support. And so he was old, probably about 10 years off of retirement, gruff as fuck. Like a no-nonsense dude. Like a tough egg to crack. Once I cracked him, he and I got along swimmingly. But that first like month or two that we worked together, I was like, this fucking guy hates me. He was like a drill sergeant type of dude. He would make all these like jokes. I'd be sweating. The first job that we did together was moving a bunch of real heavy computers around all day. And he would make fun of me. He'd be like, you're sweating, boy. You okay? You want me to order you a pina colada? I was like, no, Rick, I'm fine. I'm using the name Rick, by the way, for him. That's a good name for him. Joe and Rick. It's like, no, Rick. Rick, I'm fine. You sure? You sure you can do this? This is every day. You think you're going to go home and come back tomorrow and you're going to be doing something different, but you know what we're doing tomorrow? What are we doing, Rick? Moving a whole bunch of these same machines at a whole different site. I was like, oh, that sounds like pure joy, Rick. Oh, it's going to be. You just wait. You're going to love this job. You know? So anyway, I didn't know it at the time, but me being placed with Rick was me proving that the nepotism was worth it. It was like proof of the vouch. If he can survive with Rick as his trainer, then he's got what it takes to do the job. And there was no fucking way I was being beaten down by Rick. I was just going to do it. And he was right. It was a hard-ass fucking job. It was good to be prepared by a person like that. I was not coddled. There was no bullshit. He gave it to me like it was. And once I understood Rick's personality, we got along pretty well. We would butt heads every once in a while, but 90% of the time, he and I were chill. Rick and I were chill, and that was awesome. So, and that's what really secured me the position because when I was working with Rick, I was a temp. It was made known to me that I could be terminated at any time, and I knew who was reporting back to the big cheese. You know what I mean? Rick was filling out my report card. He was whispering sweet nothings into the big boss's ear every day about me. And so I knew what the score was. The score was become friends with Rick and do a really good job for Rick and never say no to Rick. Rick says jump, you say how high and when do I come down, Rick? I gotta get something to drink. I'll be right back. No, 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 no. You want to go inside, D? Oh, whoa. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I wonder if they heard that.
What are you doing, Dave?
Oof. There you go, D. I'm sorry. After you seen your fuzzy butt. After you. Fort. My little breaks always like cause about like 40 people to disappear. Hello. Is there anybody in there? Just nod if you can hear me. Is there anyone home? Come on now. I hear you feeling down. I can ease your pain. Get you on your feet again. Relax, relax, relax. Just some information first. Just the basic facts. Can you show me where it hurts? I like most of the Pink Floyd that I've heard, including Animals. What albums can you recite entirely? I don't know if there is a whole album I can probably like. If there is one, Ween's The Mollusk, I could probably do entirely. There's probably a couple more. Oh, if I think about it, 16 Stone by Bush. Pretty sure I could get through that whole thing. Can I ask you guys a question? Do you guys those of you that have seen the movie The Departed, do you remember the cover? I don't remember who it was that covered Comfortably Numb. But don't you think that that scene would have been better with the original? You guys remember that? There is no pain you are receding. Like whoever, I don't know who it was that did that cover. Yeah, it was just like, it was not good. Maybe they couldn't afford the original Comfortably Numb. I guess not. The cover was bad. It didn't sound good. Your friend was in The Departed. Nice. Got to meet Martin and Jack. Cool. That's pretty neat. How do you feel about Tool? Dun 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 dun. How do I feel about Tool? I like Tool. I really think that people that like Tool should pay attention to their to Undertow, their first album. If you like Tool and you've never really given Undertow a chance, you really should. Philosophy of the World by Shags, by the Shags. Okay. Let's not. Covers are always lame imitations of original songs. Not always. Just usually. I need an easy friend. I do with an ear to lend. I do. Shit's pants. Like, why didn't he just drop it down like I'm doing? Why did he go so hard? Every cover by Johnny Cash was a gem. Sure. Because Johnny Cash had brought something unique to every cover that he did. He didn't just try and do like a straight cover of any song. Like I firmly believe that pretty much any song can be covered, but the person doing the covering has to bring something that's unique. I actually like Limp Bizkit's cover of Faith. Like I may be in the minority here, but I think that's a pretty hype song. Like I remember hearing that song, and I was of course familiar, being a child of the '80s, with the George Michael original, and I thought that that Limp Bizkit's cover of Faith was really good. Somebody just said the only good thing they did. Man, you're underselling Limp Bizkit. That the album that Faith appeared on as a cut was $3 Bill, y'all, and that whole album is actually really fucking good for the most part. There might be a couple of stinkers on that album. I'm not saying every one, but like that album was pretty dope. Rollin' is great. No. That was later Limp Bizkit. Ever notice that like 80% of new female singers are all replicating that nasally talk singing where they attempt to sound sad? Yeah, that like, you and I were never meant to be. So I sit and cry into my pillow. It's like, what? Why is everybody doing that? Like, I don't know who started that, but whoever did, they unleashed the beast, you know? A lot of Billie Eilish clones, I guess. Billie Eyelash. Well, I gotta poop on Billie Eilish, dude. She's got a couple of bangers. Don't hate. Dude, the 90s was a super fertile time for like female rock stars. was pretty cool. There was a lot of successful, at the very least, at the one hit wonder level, female rock stars and pop stars in the 90s. TLC, yeah, of course. Destiny's Child, the Spice Girls. I mean, yeah, you guys. What about like fucking Natalie and Bruglia and you remember Poe? Probably not. She had that song "Angry Johnny." There's Shirley Manson and Garbage, Hole, Four Non Blondes. Yeah. A lot of indie type bands had at least one female member, like Pixies, Slow Dives, Sonic Youth. I don't know. It was just there was a lot of Mazzy Star. That's another one. Jewel, yeah. The Cranberries, the Runaways, yep. The Sneaker Pimps, L7 was an all female like punk rock band. Brackish was another band. I wanna hold the hand inside you. That was every girl in the 90s, like breakup slash can't have the guy that they want slash have a crush on a guy but don't know how to approach them song. Fade into you. Strange you never knew. Aaliyah, yeah. Boy, I've been watching you like a hawk in the sky. She had a lot of talent, then died in like a plane crash. Alanis, yeah. We didn't mention Alanis. She was big. Gwen Stefani. A lot of female representation. She pulled a Buddy Holly, yeah. If she was still alive, Beyonce might not have gotten so big. Or they might have teamed up and Destiny's Child might have been like the most amazing fucking shit ever. Can you imagine that? You ever wear underwear without showering until it rots off your body? My God, no. Avril Lavigne, yeah, less so, but yeah. Lavigne was the 2000s, yeah. Yeah, I know. Was letting it sneak by. Dumb question number 2 equals you get hidden. See you in the next life. Early 90s, a lot of male singers of love songs. In the end of the 90s, it's sad and mad ladies singing. Yeah, kind of the way it was. Oh, man. Ugh. I do not have chickens, but a lot of my neighbors do, apparently. Yeah, that wasn't me relaxing. That was me, like, stretching my fucking horribly twisted, shitty back because it's constantly a problem. It sucks. I feel like I want to just, like, twist my head off my neck. Ugh. This rocking chair is curved in such a way that I can, like, force my back into a straighter line with it, and it's like, ugh. Pops a lot, stretches a lot when I do this, but it just hurts. Ugh. Get a short Asian girl to walk on it. Dude, that sounds like it would feel so good. I would totally do that. No grossness, no happy ending requested. Just fucking like one of those ones where they grab the poles and just walk up and down your back. I feel like that would fix every problem that I have. Get a yoga ball. I have a wheel thing that I use that helps a little bit to relieve some of the pressure, and it feels like it adjusts my spine a little bit, but I don't know, man. I think that the answer is for me to stop slouching and have posture like this constantly, number one. And number two, continue to lose weight. And then maybe take up some fucking yoga that strengthens those muscles back there or some shit. But a back brace, I don't know, like if they have those posture correcting braces, an inversion table, I've had those before. Well, I didn't have one myself. My stepmom, when I was growing up, had an inversion table that I used to use. But that was before my back was as bad as it is now. So I don't know how much help those would be. My girlfriend has a posture support thing, pulls her shoulders back. Yeah, I should probably have that. Something like that forces me like this. Like they say the correct posture is that like you should feel like you're looking up. Almost like your chin is pointing forward. And I don't even know how I would do a show for you guys like this. I can't even read the chat from here. So this would be correct posture, I guess. Well, not really. Hold on, let me... Okay, there we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Highdeology. My name is Paul Zigo. I don't know how I'm going to read the chat. Get a new phone stand. That's a good idea. Just like any kind of phone stand would work. What if you do that but lean forward? I don't think that's good. A tripod, yeah. It's probably a good idea. Keep those shoulders back, soldier. How you take a drink with this posture? Okay. That one okay? Keep that chin up. Keep that head straight. Feel better? Kinda. Sort of. I mean, everything still hurts, but it's like not like as bad, I guess. I just don't know how I could like maintain this over the balance of my life. Let me get up and walk around and see if I can even like walk around with it like this. Feels weird. Okay. Wow, that feels very strange. I guess the answer is that I'll just have to be hyper aware of it. Looks like you're an action figure. I know, dude. As soon as I stop thinking about it. God damn it. You don't like it? I don't either. It's not exactly comfortable, but it does feel like it's better, like, overall for my back to be like this. It's like engaging muscles in my middle back. I can feel them like they've probably atrophied from not being used properly to keep things in place. And so those will probably get sore, but those are definitely the muscles I need to build. Those support muscles. It's uncomfortable because the muscles aren't used in this position. Try to seriously do yoga. Oh man. I have lost weight since the last time I tried to do yoga, like a significant little chunk of weight. Your back muscles are like, I didn't sign up for this. I mean, I could feel them engaged, and it's a different kind of pain, but I'm telling you, the pain in my neck and shoulder is almost gone. And that's what's really been bothering me, is that neck down into my shoulder pain. And as I'm sitting here, that pain has been transferred to like almost in like an ache in those middle back muscles. But that neck and shoulder pain is almost fucking gone. Can you imagine? Okay. I really need to work on this. I feel so much, it's not better necessarily because of the fucking, but I feel like if those muscles were engaged properly and strong enough to where they weren't, because I feel like those muscles have probably atrophied pretty bad. And that's why I'm having that, but it's a different kind of pain. It's not that like spinal pain. It's like a muscle ache. Get a seat without a backing. I'm afraid I would just hunch. Hold on, I'm also slouching a little bit. Yep. See, I already started to move forward a little bit. That's not totally a slouch, but like moving my head forward is, you're right about the atrophy. Yeah, I can imagine if my back muscles haven't been doing what they're supposed to do because I've been so slouchy and I carry my head so forward. Oh my God, that's the pain. Is that my head is so forward on my, wow. It's still there when I turn. Obviously those muscles, they're inflamed or whatever, but like, Holy shit, dude. Hey there, honey. Notice anything different about me?
What?
Just wondering. Anything different about me?
Honey.
I'm sitting up straight.
Oh, I see.
My posture is somewhat proper,
I see.
and it's helped. Like it feels very unnatural,
Yeah.
but it also has helped the pain that I was having in my neck and shoulder
Yeah.
and back overall. Now I'm having muscle pain because the muscles that usually keep my shoulders back and keep everything straight are like weak. But it's different. That's a different pain.
Yeah.
Now hold that for the next couple of years and you're good. Yep. Cool.
Yeah. He has that posture thing that we got with those chirp wheels, but I don't know how much it'll help.
Well, you have to help me try it.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be good to have on me to like remind me to do this more often.
Yeah. It just feels too unnatural.
Yeah, it really does. That neck is so fucked, but if you set crisscrossed, it would be easier. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, guys. Oh. The underbeard is true and real. You like the underbeard? You just an old mane. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think I would benefit from some kind of like deep tissue massage. It's just a matter of like me getting over my phobia of that. Hot sauna sessions. Yeah, maybe. I'll tell you what would help me most of all is if I could get access to a pool that I could do laps in. That would be the easiest and best exercise for me to do. So, probably find an indoor one open year round. Yeah. I just, I want to get fucking vaccinated first before I start even thinking about going to a place like a gym or a public fucking pool or whatever the fuck. But yeah,
Oh, YMCA.
I know I'm slouching. I can't fucking maintain it all goddamn day.
YMCA is expensive as shit now.
I mean, whatever. I could probably afford to join the YMCA, but that may or may not be the best fucking option in this area. I don't know. I'd have to check it out. I'd have to get a bathing cap too with this hair.
Yeah. The closest one is always.
Yeah. That's true, Peyton. That's true. I'd have to do something with it, you know. I'd have to put it up in a fucking bathing cap or some shit. You can't just let this like flow around in the water and be all in your face every time you turned. It would get real annoying real quick in the water. And it would get like chlorine green too.
7 years, Marshall, at the rate we're vaccinating.
I mean, it might be true. I don't know.
They just need to have them open like 24/7, and then just first come, first serve. Fuck this tiered bullshit.
Yeah. My 500-pound English teacher used to swim at the Y without a hairnet, and his hair was your length. 500 pounds? I mean, I'm sure I could do it. It would just be strange.
Why the fuck is the South African strain even in the U.S.? Thought no one was supposed to be flying anywhere.
Well, if you're rich, you can do it. I'm trying to get farther away from 500 pounds. I'm not trying to get to 500 pounds. Economos wills it. Corona must continue. The population reduction must continue. I'm about to just seal myself in a bubble. Just plant my ass right where I'm at, build a giant dome over the property, and defend it with a gun. Nobody comes in, nobody comes out, hermetically sealed. Yeah, you guys can come and visit me around the bubble or whatever, but I'll be in the bubble. It's bubble time. Stop. Bubble time. Oh, man, I don't even know.
B, please.
What? What's he doing?
No, I said B, please.
Oh, B. I thought you said D. He thought you said D, too. It's like, what? I was just watching, Mom.
Come on, B. Get off of me.
Oh, he landed on you?
Yeah. Dude.
Where's he at?
On my hand.
He's on your hand?
Well, now he's on the sweater. Go on, bro.
Bruh.
There ain't nothing there.
He's like, man, I'm getting this flower. There's pollen in there. I know it. B. Go on, B. Go be a bee somewhere else. He's on the ground now.
You didn't slap him that hard.
No, dude, I just flicked him, but he's stunned.
Yeah.
B, I'm sorry, but...
Go on about your business.
Yeah. Crawl around a little bit. Get your bearings about you. Poor bee.
Oh, Dinor. What you doing? What? You can get your ball if you want. We can do a little fetch. Go and get your ball. You're right next to it. Get it.
Is he back?
Yep.
B. Well, I gotta explain to you, B. You done got flicked once. Without Dinor, I wouldn't know how to spell Dinor. See? You should thank him for his existence. He taught you so much. He asks for so little in return. I disrespected him. I kind of did, but he was on my lady. He was poking his proboscis all up in my lady's sweater and stuff. Like, I mean, how much of that am I supposed to put up with before I flick? You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not a super jealous guy, but like, come on. What am I supposed to put up with from this bee?
Want
Huh?
to sit on my lefty? You want to play ball? Come on, give it. Give it. Give it. No? You don't want to fetch?
Why not? Why don't you want to fetch, D? Obi Trice, real name, no gimmicks. I'll tell you guys what I've been obsessed with recently when it comes to travel and shit. I really want to get tattooed. I know I've talked about it a bunch, but I just really, like, I'm so sick of not having the tattoos that I want to have. I've wanted to get, not necessarily the tattoos I have in mind now, but I've wanted to get tattoos and shit since I was in my early 20s. I got one tattoo done, and I wanted to get more, but it just never happened. Now I'm fucking 40, and I just want to go get it. Yeah, I have some specific shit that I want to get, and some non-specific ideas that I want to have have Zach help me out with. And then I just want to take a couple weeks and just fucking fly into where Zach's at and just sit in the chair with him. Get it done.
All these double stacked trains.
I don't know. You still trying to come through after that? For sure. I'll be in your area, I think, or at least closer to you. So I don't see any reason why not. Face tat? No, I'm not at that level yet. I want to get my arms and my hands done up, and then I want to see where it goes from there. If I want more done after that, I'll get more done after that, but
The train's close enough that we can see the brands on the shipping containers.
yeah, Yang Ming, dude. Some Chinese goods. So you have one tattoo already? Yes. Warning, fatty areas hurt differently than skin areas like the back of hands. I know. I am aware of the pain involved. I have a pretty reasonable threshold for pain. And I smoke weed, so that'll help. Chugga, 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 chugga. It's not a super easy one for me to show off, but I guess it's in the daylight, so now would be a better time than not now. I'll show you guys the one I have. Keep in mind, I got this when I was like fucking 21 years old, so it's not the most masterwork tattoo that you're ever gonna see, but there it is. It's 3 different tiki masks, each with kind of a different expression on their face. I kind of like it. I still don't think it's the worst tattoo ever, but it needs to be cleaned up and touched up. It's nowhere near as vibrant as it used to be. But yeah, I've had that since I was 21. I have the same spot on both arms, yeah. So that's my one tattoo. The person that did it was basically an apprentice tattooer, and I think I was her first live tattoo. I think she did a good job. I look at it now, and it's nowhere near as clean as a lot of the work that I see that other people have, but I like the colors, and I like the overall design of it. And I think that eventually it could be worked in, like touched up and then worked into a bigger and greater design. You know what I mean? And so that's one of the things I want to do down the line. But the first big round of tattooing that I want to do are my forearms on both arms and my hands. So I know you can fix all that. I mean, just if it got touched up and had some of the line work cleaned up, like here, let me pull it out again. I'll show you some of the things about it that kind of bug me, since the light will show it off. So you see down here at the bottom, he's got, all right, so the central dude here, he's got this kind of plant draped here. And you can see how the line work doesn't really finish. It doesn't really close there for some reason. That's always bugged me about it. And it happens on both sides of the plant, where it's like she didn't quite know how to finish off the leaf, I think. And so she just kind of left it hanging there. I also kind of lament, like these flowers. You see, like each one of the dudes on the sides. This dude is easier for me to show you guys. They have on their ears, they have these beautiful flowers, and that used to be like this really vibrant yellow and pink, and it's faded a lot over the years. It really used to stand out from them as being like these really pretty lily kind of flowers. He's got one over there too. Just the colors in general have faded into my skin quite a bit, and so it's in dire need of like touch up, having some stuff like this fixed, and maybe even filling out around it, redoing the line work and stuff. But yeah, I like the tattoo. It's not like one that I look at and I go like, ugh, I enjoy the theme of it still. I like how all 3 guys have a different feeling going on. It's a little bit of culturally appropriative tattooing, I guess, because I'm not Maori at all, or whatever the fuck, a Hawaiian islander, but I dig it, you know what I mean? So, is it just me, or does one look like Paul and one look like Scotty, and the center one not TJ so much? Huh? I personally go with black and gray work for me, but smart plan getting it touched up in the future. I currently have 3 big ones. I kind of have this idea, and it might be fucking stupid of me. I love colorful tattoos, and I love really stark black and white kind of tattoos, like the less colorful kind of tattoos. And so I have this idea about doing my arms differently. And I don't know if it's going to end up looking like a mess or what, but because I've started up here so colorfully, and because this could be touched up and made to be even more colorful than it was, having a very colorful kind of design for this arm and hand, and then because this arm is completely clean, going with a way more stark black and white look. I don't know. I like both, and it's something that I have to enjoy looking at, and so that's kind of what I'm thinking about possibly doing. Like, I don't even know if that's advisable or whatever, but who cares? I'm the one that has to look at it more than anybody else, so as long as I like it. You're hooked on very old school nautical stuff. I have a friend that has a bunch of old school sailor style tattoos. You'd probably love his work. He looks very punk in that they're just kind of spread all over his body willy-nilly, but each different work has that flair to it. He very much curated his tattoos to all be done by artists that have that old sailor tattoo flair. What do you want your new tattoos to say about you? I don't really care. Like, I don't really want to get the tattoos so that other people can look at me and think they know something, this, that, or the other thing. Like, they're for me. So I don't want them really to say anything about me. I want them to say something to me. I want them to be something that I like looking at in the mirror and that I like seeing when I see them. That's what's most important to me. Get Dinor's eyes. Dude, a Dinor tattoo wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, dude. A Dinor tattoo would be pretty dope. Yeah, just get that heart. I just want one that heart, and then it says mom on it, and then it has a dagger going through it. Get a Minecraft tattoo, yeah. And get my own face on my back like Steve-O has. That'd be kind of fun. Get one of TJ. Mm-mm. I got a chubby pinup girl upside down because I want to look at her, not for anybody else. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I don't think I'm going to be getting my stuff upside down, but I feel you. It's for you. It's for you to look at and appreciate. Fuck what anybody else thinks. You want to go get a tattoo? Go get it. You know what would really be kind of cool? Think about this. Let's say I go far down this tattoo road, right? I decide I want to get a neck tat. You might think, like, why would you even bother? You can't even really see your neck. What if I did the Admiral Burnside shit, shaved this whole central section so you could see, like, my throat, and then just got something, like, tattooed in that strip? Tell me that wouldn't be dope. Get a beard tattooed there. It'd be a hell of a commitment. Yeah, it would be. I mean, I could always grow this back and hide it if I wanted to, and then it would always be there if I wanted to get the fucking Lilburn Boggs look back, you know? Next level. Yeah. Next level. I agree. Next level. Yes. When you play a game on very easy, the enemies are playing on very hard. Whoa, that's some Buddha shit. That's some digital new age Buddha shit right there. Holy fuck, bro. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. It's been fun though. Thank you guys for chilling. See you next time. Bye.